All right. Well, hello, Fuck Cancer family. Brian McInerney here again with another one of our Teammate Tuesday podcasts. Um, I am really, really excited today to be talking to our guest. This is kind of a big deal. This is kind of a big moment. This is kind of earth-shattering news in the triathlon endurance community a couple of weeks ago with the announcement of Wildflower making its return after a long absence. And so I am honored and privileged to have Colleen Bousman joining us today. She is the race director, founder, president. What you are Wildflower. You're basically Wildflower, right? Let's just cut to the chase. You are Wildflower. So
So
welcome.
our family is Wildflower.
Your
I
family.
I
Yes.
have
Yes.
been race directing it alongside my father since 1997 when I graduated. I graduated from Cal Poly in 95, but I've been race directing alongside of him. But I was at my first race at 10 years old in the
Wow.
rain, very first year of Wildflower. So
That's
been there
awesome.
all 35 years.
Right. And I think that's important to note. This is the original Wildflower, right? This is the original family. This is the original race, right? This is, you guys are back. You're back running. We're back doing it, right?
Yes, and it's always been the original race directors. We have race directed it all 35 years. So when
Right.
people are wondering about the experience and stuff like that, like 2018, when we had partnered with another company for it, we 100% did the race directing and the organizing, and it was our vision coming to life. And
Right.
so that's one of the things that I'm very proud of, is that we have been a family business that has always been focused on the athletes and the experience since day one.
Yeah. And I know that there's a lot of people on our Facebook page. A lot of people have already signed up. A lot of people talking about it. I was there in 2018, so I got to. It's one of my first long distance, or 70.3 races that I did. So I can attest that race was. This race is incredible. Just that whole weekend. So for those of us that don't know or may not know, kind of take us through what we can expect when we sign up for Wildflower in 2025.
So the race is built not only on triathlon, but it's a full weekend experience, which is
Right.
why the name changed from Wildflower Triathlons to Wildflower Experience. Because for me, it is all about having it be a full weekend of endurance. So whether it be, a person racing the sprint triathlon, whether it being a trail run, whether it be an open water swim, we have a ton to offer. And we did that because we wanted an avenue for people to come that could enjoy, their whole family could come and enjoy it. Whether it's a group of girlfriends, whether it's a triathlon club, whether it's a triathlon team, whether it's a family, we wanted you to be able to have something for everybody in that group to do and feel like that they accomplished something over the weekend.
Right.
And then I think at the heart of it is in 1983, we started as a bluegrass festival. And we have not lost sight of the fact that the music and the festival and the hanging out, like that's all still part of it. So we've
Right.
always said we want to stick to our roots and stick to the fact that it started as a bluegrass festival. It started with some crazy young triathletes and Sally Edwards and Scott Tinley and all these other names. And it has continued to evolve, and we will forever evolve. We don't have to stay in one place. We are going to continue to evolve in what people are looking for because we talk to the athletes like face
Right.
to face all the time.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, and so there's 5K, there's 10Ks, there's sprint, there's Olympic, there's the mid distance, there's swim, there's a bunch going on, and there's literally something for everybody, right? And I think
Yeah. So my committee and my staff thinks I'm absolutely out of my mind. And every year they kind of go, we're going to do what? And they're a make it happen sort of group, which is, I'm so thankful for. I mean, I've had some of them for over 20 years. I mean,
wow.
there's literally a guy sitting across the table that has worked for me for over 25 years alongside me. And so he probably thinks he's out of his mind. But so we have a 5K fun run and a 10K.
Mm-hmm.
We have a 20K trail run that we're going to be expanding in the trail world over the next 3 years. And then we have an on-road sprint, an on-road Olympic, an on-road long course. And then our off-road, people always wonder, is it mountain bike? What is it? And it's gravel, basically. So it's basically you take a gravel bike. So you don't have to be the technical mountain biker. You get to do the gravel world is really growing, and we're growing in that. Like I said, we're always evolving. And so the off-road is more of a gravel off-road race, so that you can try and do that. And if you want to race on Saturday and do one race and do another race on Sunday, that's available. And we have a lot of people doing it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the other really cool thing, and a lot of people who haven't done it, when you go to a race, athletes are spread out in 15 different hotels, right? And they have to go and go here, go there, and you run. It's just met. Here, it's all in one spot, right? There's about 8 or 9 campsites.
It's a big area. I mean, there's 26 miles of races. I mean, of trails that are there. And
Right.
so our races go all around those trails. So you see people no matter where you're at in the park that are throughout that. But the camping is part of it. And people are like, I don't understand. Why in the world would I camp before a long course? Like, that seems as if the long course weren't hard enough. Why am I going to camp?
Right.
Well, there's nothing like eating together and hanging around a campfire together to grow people closer. And so I think the definition of camping has changed over the years as well. When we say camping, let's say very loosely in the fact that they're driving up in their RVs that have 3 pop-outs, and they're turning on their music, and they're cooking in full-on stoves. And so there's everything from literally the drive-up Taj Mahals down to the pop-up tents. And so there is a version of camping and glamping for whatever people may want. And so we have tried to make it over the past years very accessible for, if you want to be there and you want to be involved in community, there's various ways you can do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's the one unique thing is that there are so many campsites, and there's so many different options, from full hookups to VIP down on the lake, and again, this is all on the website. If you have questions, you can kind of go there and get some general information. More information obviously is going to be sent out as things go along. But I know one of the questions we get is like, people are saying, well, where am I going to stay? Well, you're going to stay with your fellow racers. And what's cool is when you warm up, right, and you do your shakeout runs, you're running through all the different campsites and you're seeing everybody right there. And so it really is just like the biggest festival atmosphere that you can have with the live music and all that. So we're looking forward to it. So like I said, it's been a few years. A lot of people are going to start out, the 2 questions that we always get asked is water temperature, which cold, and course. For the long distance or the Olympic, any changes to the course? Any hints? Any sneak peeks you can give us?
We're bringing back the same courses. I mean, it's kind of a proven plan. It's 35 years of doing the same course, and so it works. We're not going to make it easier. I can't take out any of the hills. Like, they're all still there. You're still going to do nasty grade. It's not going away. Beach Hill, it still exists. Lynch Hill, they're still there. There's going to be there's a lot more trails that are in there, so I can get more creative with some of the stuff that we're doing. But a lot of the courses you're going to see when you're training are going to be the same style of, you're going to have to train on hills. It's not a ocean swim. You don't have the cold of the ocean swim. It's a lake swim. The temperatures in May can vary on whether it rains ahead of time or doesn't rain ahead of time and stuff like that. But it's not something that you're going to have like, I have to have my neoprene cap because it's so cold. It's doable. You get to swim it. A lot of people come in early, so they come in on Thursday, and they'll go ahead and they'll do a practice swim. They'll go out and they'll ride the bike course, and I mean, everything's marked year round there, which is great. You can bring your clubs, and you guys can go for a training weekend, the first weekend in April or something like that. And they're there. You can ride them and you can enjoy them and see what you're in for. Or sometimes the surprise is a little better. Sometimes it's best not to know that hill keeps going, even after you've already made the turn, wishing it wasn't going 3 times.
Yeah. And having the guy at the top of the hill go, no, you have to turn here and go up that hill one more time. I had a few choice words for that individual when I was going up it. So thank God for the volunteers. They are thick skinned. So really, I think one of the things is kind of the history of Wildflower, and specifically Wildflower and the Fuck Cancer have a very tight history with each other, right? There's a bond there that really a lot of us may not know about.
Yeah, so this relationship is very personal to us because Sean English was one of our announcers. Mm-hmm. And he was involved with F cancer and really a huge part of the outreach of sharing his whole journey as mm-hmm. far as what happened. And Sean came to us as a beginning announcer. He had just started getting into this sport. He was looking up it and he really showed up not really knowing what he was getting himself into the first time, as far as he was used to coming with his big personality and coming in and doing his thing and everything. And all of a sudden with us, he turned into family and he turned into a teddy bear. And he's like, oh, I have family, I have home. And he was part of the Tri-Cal family. And so, you know, when we heard about his cancer and we're talking to him about all of his journeys, we were there alongside of him and talking to him. And in 2018, you know, he was deciding, you know, can I come and announce for the race? I don't know if I can be the same announcer. If you need to get somebody else there. I said, no, you were there. I don't care if you announce for 2 minutes. You were our family and you're going to be on that mic. And so, you know, we made every accommodation we needed to so he can come and be a part of that. And I'll never forget standing in the trailer, him coming to me in tears after his first day saying, you do not realize what I have been through in all of my treatments so that I could make this race. He says, I gave me a goal. It gave me something to look forward to and be a part of. And so, you know, going through his journey and then in talking to Jason and being great friends with Jason on this whole thing and him sharing with Jason how Wildflower and the Tri-California family changed his life and his trajectory as his life. That is very meaningful in the relationship that we had. And, you know, he married Sean and Heather, and we got to be a part of that. Sean and Heather are great friends of ours, and to watch him with that relationship and marry them. And, you know, it's why we do Wildflower. It's, for me, Wildflower, what I've been missing most is the relationships with people that became very dear friends of mine that you only see once a year, but when you walk in the room, it's like yesterday. And so you're catching up. And then the community that ties people together. As far as how many marriages or dating came out of Wildflower, I'm pretty sure I'm right up there with Match.com as far as you take like people and you put them together and you get a lot of connections out there.
Right.
So, you know, with this, we want to make the awareness there for what you guys are doing and how you support people that are going through this journey. Because that's what he was so thankful for, that he had that along this journey. And we didn't, even though there were parts of it that we could support him emotionally, what he was going through, but you guys understood and you guys were there to be there from point A to point B through this journey.
Yeah. And I remember at 2018, I remember him being there, and I wasn't quite on the team, or I might've just heard about the team. And so to kind of hear his story, and he was very open about it through the entire race. Like even race morning, I remember him talking and making jokes about it, and just being Sean, being who he was, you know. And that's when you realize the Wildflower experience is completely different than anything that you've ever been in. It's not a corporate branded race that has, you know, this and that. I mean, it is truly a family feeling of thousands of people all in one area, doing crazy things.
Most of the time, like, people are no longer out there just racing for themselves. I mean, there are so many triathlon clubs and teams and groups that come out there. Like, you're racing for you're racing and you're enjoying it yourself, but you're at the start line right along somebody else. And you may have somebody that's nervous and you're cheering them on, or you come through the finish line and you turn around and you wait at the finish line for another hour or so, because you know that somebody else that was out there that was racing you talked to them along the way. And so you want to see them finish. And so there's so many people that are there as groups. They're all of a sudden, their story is somebody else's story, and they're sharing. And so this race is not about taking 3 minutes off your time. I've never, my desire is not to put on a race that's ever for people to create a PR. I mean, it's great that they do it and stuff like that, but I want them to cross the line and go, this is about something more than me. And I think you feel that when you cross our line.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And so I know that you and you mentioned Jason have kind of been working closely on how, you know, kind of just basically how we can get involved and the Fuck Cancer team. And so I know that there's some kind of really cool things going on that are kind of planned for that weekend.
There is. Yeah. I mean, Sean passed away during COVID, and we both have always felt that he impacted so many people in the triathlon and the endurance community and never really got a proper memorial and celebration of life. And so we are planning a memorial, and we're still putting together all the details, but it's likely going to be a water swim with, you know, also having some speakers and various people there just to congregate and again, build that community around not only him, but all the people that are either going through the circumstance or that understand and have other people that are affected by this, and take that time and stop what we're doing and be able to not just celebrate the race or celebrate him and stuff like that, but the spirit that was all behind it. And I think that's what you guys can bring. And so we're working on putting together what exactly that's going to be, because I think every day that we talk to somebody else, it grows and what we're doing changes. Like we have the entire announcing team. This is something I'm really excited about. So I have all of my announcing team from the past years. I've had the same announcing team for years. So Whit Raymond and Julie Moss and Victor Plot, you know, all these people who have been on the mic for years, they've all committed to come back. I mean, even in the country, he's in Japan right now. And he's like, whatever it takes, I'll be there. And so, you know, and Julie Moss, she's not out in the public as much and stuff anymore, but they're coming, and they had a tradition where all the announcers would go on a run together. They'd go on a swim together and stuff like that. And so they're helping me put some different things together. And I think the more that we touch people, that we hear that we're doing this, they all will go, oh, well, I want to do this, or I want to do that. So it's growing, and there will be something, and it will be on Friday of event weekend in the morning. So that will be a to be determined on what exactly we can put together.
That's amazing. And you keep, you know, we keep hearing this theme in everything you say, and just not just here, listen to your passion and feeling it, but it's really this thread of history and family and something more than it's just the community. It's not just a race, right? And to have the announcing team come back, to have your family, you know, still involved, have everyone still involved. You know, this is the same race from 20 years ago to today that you're doing it, and the philosophy hasn't changed, right? It's still a focus on the people and the community and the groups. That is, you know, and that's the one thing for those of us that have done it, is that there's not a lot of, you know, individual people that show up. This is groups that come here, right? And families that come here, and families that are running it. And you know, as you say, there's a race on Saturday. You'll go Sunday to cheer somebody on, and you're like going, you're standing next to them going, hey, we ran together. I saw you on mile 20 when you dropped your bottle, and they're now you're cheering on their wife as she's doing, you know. So it's that whole thing that is just so unique.
Well, and people asked, like, what took so long to come back? Well, first off, we're over 10,000. And so when COVID was coming back and people were starting to do races again, we fell under that mass gathering restrictions, which was more than if I was doing a race for 200 people or something, I could come back pretty easily because it didn't fall in any of those restrictions. With the Monterey County, there was a lot of restrictions that came into play. It was over 10,000. The other thing is I can't bring this race back unless it is what it's always been. And what that means is it's a lot of legwork to get up. You know, you're talking over 5,000 racers. You're talking a full campground that has to be all developed and stuff again. And you're talking about going back to Cal Poly, who was, you know, they provide 95% of our volunteers, and they are part of our DNA. They are part of what everybody loves about coming to the race, and their energy and all that kind of stuff. And I had to look at this and go, okay, so these Cal Poly students, there's not a single one in college, because we hadn't had the race for 4 years.
Right.
So you think about a 4-year university, there is not a single person at that university that has ever volunteered at Wildflower.
Right.
And we are probably one of the only races out there that had a waiting list to volunteer. And the waiting list was as large as the number of people volunteers. So, I mean, I had 650 people that are volunteering, and another 600 that wanted to, that we would let in. And so, and that was all just from word of mouth. And
Right.
so now we have to rebuild this whole program, and we have to educate all these volunteers on why they want to come camp in the middle of nowhere, and how they're going to get everybody excited about it. So that takes some time to build up. And I wasn't willing to bring back a race part way. And so it's part that, but it's also a leap of faith, in the sense that, we are counting on the fact that we have to get to over 4,000 and get into those numbers to
Right.
make the energy what we need it to be, to have the amenities that we need to do, because we have to do a lot of work at the park ourselves and stuff in order to make this happen. It used to be, back in its heyday, they had enough park rangers and all that kind of stuff, but with employment and stuff like that, they're having a problem even getting people to work out there. And so we have to make sure that everything's to the right standards. And so when people ask, the Cal Poly students, like, they're going to be there because I've spent the time to do it right and to create those relationships, because I know that that is in the heartbeat of the race. Yeah. And so I've spent some time just going back to all the things that matter about the race and making sure those are in place before we decided to come back.
And for those listening, and again, have been there, that's the most heartwarming and most amazing thing ever, because that's why you do it. For those who didn't get to experience it and new to the sport, you absolutely have to do this race. There are bucket list races and there are challenges, and it's not about the PR. It's not about the podium. It's not about chasing whatever. It's about the overall experience. And yeah, it is the Wildflower experience, and they talk about it. So I'm looking forward to it. As I told you, in 2018, the race almost, I felt real good on the swim, got out, the bike felt really, really good. And then that run after mile 2 took that little right turn up to the hill and began to question every decision I ever made when it came to triathlons, which we all do that. And I promised myself, I said, okay, one and done. But now that you're back, I definitely am looking forward to definitely coming back and seeing you and being a part of everything. So thank you.
People will have an opportunity as well. I just want to let them know that if they want to go beyond just coming and racing, there is a fundraising component. So we have created an opportunity for people fundraising pages. They can go ahead and sign up to fundraise, and they have a fundraising goal of 1,500. So they can go out, they can get other people, and that money will go to you guys for the race. And our system is built so that everything that they need to do that, to build the fundraising page, to have the tools, to share it on their social medias, to collect the money, and in the Haku, the company who we're using for the registration, that goes directly to you guys. So that is a payment that comes in and then goes to you guys. And then there's extra benefits that they're going to get along with being a part of that. But so that's one way to give back to your organization for doing that. The other way is with every registration, they have an option to choose the drop down of the charity they want to give to. And so there's all different monetary, from $5 up to $100 that they can give during the registration process to give back to you guys and what you're doing at the sport.
Yeah. So yeah, team. And I know, I think I saw the post went up earlier this week. I know people have already signed up. There's a lot of talk. I mean, this is the opportunity for a lifetime, and just the overall exposure too. I mean, from a personal standpoint, the overall exposure for the endurance team, right? We're going to have the opportunity to be one of the, on the drop down, one of these sponsors, and people may sit there and say, hey, who's that team? And most of us joined because we really kind of liked what the team stood for, and it kind of like the edge about it, and different things like that. So yeah, so the takeaways: Wildflower's back. The same experience you had in before is going to be even better this time around. The Cal Poly team will be there. I'm sure we won't have to encourage them to do their little mild jaunt through the campgrounds again. We'll have to see how that goes. Although the unofficial is not a official event.
The funny thing is that started just as Cal Poly, but I'm telling you, in 2018 when I was there, it was not just Cal Poly students that were running.
Oh no, there was it was a parade. It was an absolute parade. So, yeah. So thank you again for your time. I appreciate it. I know that we will be out there in force, and if there's ever anything that you need, we are here for you, because we appreciate the support that you did for just not the Fuck Cancer team, but for Sean and his family and the entire Fuck Cancer family. So thank you so much, and we will see you in May.
Yes, and just so your team knows, you guys have early access right now. So our website does not say that registration starts until September 30th. And so right now, what is available to them is just early access that we're giving all of the clubs, the teams, and our partners. Okay. So there's a referral link that you guys get that will get you guys in early, that it gets you in at a discounted rate. And then it opens to the general public on the 30th. In addition to that, one of the questions we're always getting is like, well, I don't see the camping registration or the festival registration or any of that kind of stuff. That's going to be coming out mid-October to the first week of November, depending on. So anybody who registers early for that will be given early access to the camping as well. So we'll start doing early access mid-October, and then we'll open to the public in November. So
right. And so just so everyone knows, because that is one of the questions, and thank you for bringing that. There are campsites in the campgrounds, and there's numerous campsites, and so you can register for a campsite. It's encouraged to do that, just because the nearest city is about 45 minutes away, and so it's kind of a hike to get in there, and it's also difficult to get there in the morning because there's some closures in there, right? Because you actually race through the campground. So we've always recommended it's camp on site. Right.
Yes, because we do have road closures that happen between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m.
Right.
And, people are always like, oh, I can't, there's only one way in and one way out. We can't change that. And the person that's racing, that's finishing at 2:00 is as important to the person that's finishing at noon. So I believe that every person should have equal access to a completely closed course, have a great experience, and not have to worry about cars froggering in and out of them. And so I do keep the roads closed for that time. So, those road closures are there. Now in the camping, it makes it really easy too, because you pay per person. And then what you do is in your drop down, if you want to camp with your group, you put your group in the drop down, and then we reserve an area for your groups like yours. That's one of the benefits that we're doing to your group. We will reserve an area for your group so that you guys can all come together, whether you're tent camping. And the only thing you do reserve an actual space for is if you need full hookup, because that's in a special area, because there's actual full hookup sites versus a lot of the RVs nowadays, they come and they're self-contained and they don't need to be hooked up. And so you can get in the normal sites and not do a full hookup.
Right. So yeah, so that's all to come, more to come. We will keep you informed. Colleen and her team will obviously keep you informed, but just sign up, and the rest, as most triathletes say, I'm going to sign up and I'll figure out how I'm going to do it later. So let's just sign up and get everyone out there, and we'll figure out the rest later. So
yeah, the one thing I can guarantee is they're going to have a great experience, and they're going to be surrounded by great people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the course is 100% support. I don't think on the run course, there's any place where you can get away from someone not cheering you on. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate all that you do. And hopefully we'll do this again as we get closer. Maybe we'll do it again, get some more. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be a sellout. So I have a feeling.
Continue to communicate and give you guys lots of. I'm ever changing as far as always adding new things into what's happening. So I will keep everybody updated, and we'll answer your questions. And if they follow us on our socials, that's really where I announce all the things as they're coming on. And I do use the socials for our storytelling, because the key thing for me is there is at our start line, if I have 5,000 people in my start line, there is 5,000 stories of their journey of how they got there and how they got to the finish. And so my goal is to share those stories from now until the day of the race.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Wow. Let's race. Let's go. Get it here now. Let's go. Is it ready to go? I'll be up there tomorrow. Can we do that?
You can, but it's going to be with the weed whacker so that you can help get the place ready.
Oh, okay. I guess I can do that. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Bye.